We're not talking breakfast or lunch or dinner, just brunch today on Let's Cook. Hi, welcome to Let's Cook, where we are doing just for brunch today. Now, you know, brunch, it's a combination of breakfast or lunch, but brunch is just a meal. And you can do the menu that I'm going to do today for dinner as well. Let's go over the menu because it's really nice. We're doing egg strata. Then we're doing a fried eggplant with olive spread, poached eggs, and brown butter. And it's so that's kind of a nice item with the eggplant, with the olive spread or tapenade that we're going to do. But the first thing we have to do is we have to make the egg strata. So for the ingredients for the egg strata, we have some ham here and some mozzarella. Now the ham, I need to cut this up a little bit and just make it a little smaller because it's going to get mixed in with the bread. So we take, and I'm using, this is beautiful Black Forest ham that I'm using here. And I just bought it just from the deli, the way they would slice it for you. We'll just take our knife, we'll go across it this way. Doesn't have to be perfectly sliced, but you do want it small enough so that with every bite of egg, you get some ham in there. We'll just turn it this way. Take our knife, we'll go across it here. Beautiful. So I'll take my ham. I'm just going to take the ham, put it right in a bowl here that I'm going to mix my bread, eggs, and cheese with. Next, some mozzarella cheese. Fresh, wonderful, luscious, buttery, succulent, mouth-watering, sent from the gods, fresh mozzarella cheese. Can you tell I like mozzarella cheese? So we'll just take our mozzarella, slice it down this way. This also goes in. Next, I have my bread. Now the bread that I'm going to use, it's just a crusty bread, and you can, and this bread actually has no fat in it. The only thing that it was made with was essentially flour, water, salt, and yeast. And I'm leaving the crust on. You don't have to take it off. And it can be fresh, or if you wanted to use drier bread, you could use drier bread. But if you use a drier bread, then you need to allow this to soak a little bit before you go and use it. So let's just get this cut up right here. Beautiful. Then we need to also make our custard. Now to make our custard, just take a stainless steel bowl right here, and we'll break our eggs. And I'll show you how to break an egg using one hand. When you go to break an egg using one hand, you crack the egg usually on a flat surface. And this thumb here goes this way, and this finger just stays stationary. So if I go like this and I just go, see how the egg just pops out? And hopefully I don't get a shell in there. So I'll get my eggs in here. Beautiful. You're going to like how I put this together too, because it's so simple. And this is something that you can do ahead of time and just have ready to go. You can actually even serve this at room temperature. And what's really nice to serve this with, if you wanted to make a nice alfresco tomato sauce, that would go really well with this too. So I have my eggs there. I have my heavy cream here. If you want, you could use milk. We'll take a little bit of salt, pepper, a little bit more salt. I have some finely chopped basil here that I think I'll just put in there too. And we'll just whisk this up. So we just want to take this, beat this up so it's nice and wet, nice and mixed through. Make sure those eggs are totally broken up, but you don't have to incorporate a lot of air into it at all. So this is good to go. Now I'll take my bowl right here with my bread, just using my hands. Let's get all of it. And just kind of toss this together so everything is really nicely mixed. I find it easier to do it in a bowl this way so that the ham, the cheese, everything is well distributed. Take a casserole like this, pop it into the casserole, get it all in there. See how the ham and the cheese, where it's kind of on the bottom now, kind of ends up on the top. Well distributed. We put that there. Then we take our egg mix. A little bit at a time. Beautiful. just press this down. The egg itself doesn't have to be totally covering the bread. Then I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven, 350 degrees. It'll take exactly 22 minutes, but actually you could leave it in for 25. And when it comes out, you're going to have the crunch of the bread, plus the flavor of the cheese, the herbs, the richness of the heavy cream, out of this world. One other thing I need to do now for this brunch is I have some eggplant that I need to bread. Now, what I did is I took a regular eggplant, I peeled it, I sliced it, I put it between these two sheets with a wet towel. Before I did that, I put salt on both sides of the eggplant here. What that did is it drew out the bitterness of the eggplant. And that way the eggplant won't be bitter when I fry it up or I eat it. Now we're going to bread this. To bread this, we'll take flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. And essentially what I'll usually do is I'll go like this, shake off the excess flour, just drop it into the egg. And I'll put all my eggplant basically in the egg wash here so that my hands don't get all clumpy. If I were to take an eggplant and I were to say, go here and then go into the egg here and get it wet, and then go, and a lot of people do this with two hands, and then they go into the breadcrumbs and they go like this and they try and bread it, and they wonder why at the end their fingers look 3 times as large. It's because they did not apply that very simple principle of one hand wet, one hand dry. Because then what I can do when I have it this way is I have my wet hand and I have my dry hand. I take the eggplant here into the breadcrumbs, go like this, press it well, put it here. The other thing when you're breading something this way, you should bread it right before you're going to use it. It's going to taste better and it's not going to get soggy. The breadcrumbs will adhere better. And also don't stack. If you do pre-bread things, don't take your eggplant and stack them on top of each other like this while you're ready to fry them, because the moisture will come out of the eggplant and the breading will come off. Always lay them nice and flat. And it's a good idea to even put a little bit of breadcrumb where you're holding them until you're ready to fry them. Got a busy brunch going on today. I'm going to continue to bread the eggplant. We're going to take a little break. Then when we come back, I'll show you how we make the olive spread or tapenade to go with our eggplant. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing just for brunch today. Now, we have our eggplant bread, and we're going to fry that. Our egg strata are in the oven, but now we need to make the olive spread for our fried eggplant. Let's go over the ingredients that we're going to use in the olive spread or tapenade. We're using 1/4 cup of finely chopped mushrooms, 1/4 cup of Clamato olives, 2 tablespoons of thin herbs, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, let me explain what I say when I mean thin herbs. Thin herbs are essentially whatever herbs are available, whether it be thyme, tarragon, parsley, chervil, savory, marjoram, any of those you could call thin herbs. However, classically, thin herbs are tarragon, chervil, chives, parsley, and thyme, or a variation thereof, because it's always, and the reason we use that term is because they're not always available. They might not be in season, or they just might not be available. So that's what we use. The first thing we have to do, we can't use raw mushrooms in the spread. So I have my olive oil in the pan, and I'm just going to take and start to saute up my mushrooms here. When I start to saute them up in the olive oil, I add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to that. And we just saute these up. And all we need to do is soften them a little bit. While they're getting nice and soft, I'm going to take my olives, which are pitted. Make sure they're pitted when you get your olives. And we're just going to take and chop these a little bit. You could do this by hand, but I want them a little fine. And I also want to save a little bit of time here today. So just take and just a little fine right here. These are good to go now. So I'll take these right into the dish here. Be careful with the blade. And then we'll get all of these expensive but delicious olives out. So I have my olives there. Now my mushrooms are done. All I wanted to do was soften my mushrooms just a little bit here so that they're nice and soft and they don't have a raw flavor. So let's shut these off now. These go in with the olives. This is such a simple dish. Next, we take our herbs. We mix this in. Just kind of toss this together. You don't want to cook the olives. The flavor won't be that good. Now we'll add just a little bit more pepper to this, but no salt because of the olives. So now this is really good to go. Next, we need to fry the eggplant to go with our olive spread. So I'll use this olive oil right here. A little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan here. Just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. And a little safflower or canola or sunflower oil because I want the flavor of the olive in there, but the olive oil itself is a little bit more expensive and I don't want the flavor to be too strong. So let's go ahead and get this. So this is ready to go. We have to heat that up a little bit. Next, poached eggs. Everybody has a little bit of trouble with poached eggs. They're really easy to make. What you want to do is you want to get your water so it's barely simmering the way mine is right here. Simmering is real simple. It means small bubbles, not big bubbles. Next, it's a good idea to have a spider like this or a slotted spoon to get the water moving that way. A little bit of vinegar in the water always helps the egg whites stay together and coagulate. You don't want too much vinegar in there because then the eggs will taste like vinegar. Then take your egg, break it into a bowl. That way if you get any shell in there or you break the yolk, you don't have to worry about it. And then, look, just gonna go like this. We get some real good movement going in the pan. Then we drop our egg in. That way the egg rolls, and as it rolls, it's going to develop that lovely shape. You see how it's developing a beautiful shape in there? And again, now, we'll just do this ever so gently now because we want the egg to have that beautiful poached egg shape. I'll get another one in there. And do these, just a little bit of time. Again, you can gently move the water this way, drop the egg in, and if you want, you can baste it too. You don't want to break up the egg, so you have to be careful when you put your spoon in there not to break it. And so there we have our poached eggs going. The oil is now ready for my eggplant. When I drop the eggplant in, I'm going to just put the eggs there to make sure it starts to sizzle. See how it's starting to sizzle there? That way I know it's good. I drop it so it falls away from me this way. Get another one. We'll get this going too. We want the eggplant to cook all the way through and not get brown too quickly. So our oil should be right around 325 degrees. Let's get that in. Okay, we have our eggs poaching here. We have eggplant frying. Our spread is ready, but we still have to make a little bit of brown butter. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, show you how you put this whole dish together. Plus, we have the strata in the oven. Just Brunch. We'll be right back. Back to Let's Cook. You can see here that my eggplant is browning very nicely. This is almost cooked all the way through. This is beautiful. So now, when it gets to this point, I'm going to remove the eggplant. Now, whenever you make something fried, you need to drain it on paper towels to get rid of the excess fat. It's going to take it about 5 minutes to cool down. So I'll just drain off my eggplant here 5 minutes before it cools down. And the other thing that I'll often do when I've fried something before I go to serve it, even though I have the olive spread here, is I will take and I will season it with a little bit of salt and just a little bit of pepper. Get my pan nice and hot here. Now, my eggs are good to go here. Now, you see the egg here. What I'll do with the egg is I'll take my egg like this, take my poached egg out right here. And then what I'll do is, because of the vinegar in the water, every once in a while, I can even shock it like this. I could even hold it here and just reheat it in warm water if I wanted to. But also, this allows me to get rid of the little squiggles. I don't know what to call them. Just the excess egg white here that didn't stick to the yolk. I kind of get rid of the squiggles there. And I'll also set this on a towel so that it can drain too, because again, it's a poached egg. It's eggplant. The eggplant is fried. I don't want it to make the eggplant soggy. Next, I'll take my eggplant here. I think we'll just do 2 eggplants here. Then we take our tapenade spread right here. The tapenade goes right on top of the fried eggplant. Then we take our poached egg here. Then I'll get another poached egg right here. Actually, this one looks a little better. I like them when they have the torpedo shape. And again, we need to clean off any of the squiggle. Whoops, drain it. This goes off here. Now, there's only one other thing we have to do. You have to make a little bit of brown butter to go on top of this. To brown the butter, all I do is I heat my pan. I put my pan on the heat. I swirl it around so the butter starts to brown. I add the herbs to it, remove it from the heat. We're making what we would call a beurre noisette, which is brown butter to hazelnut color. Then we take our browned butter right on top of the eggs this way with the herbs. Out of this world. This really works. Delicious, easy to do, because what you can do is you can have the eggplant ready to go. You can fry it earlier in the day. You can poach the eggs. You can hold them in cold water and just reheat them in warm water. And you can have the tapenade made. And you can put this together very easily. You can even hold it in the oven in about a 200-degree oven before people arrive so you can serve it. Or you can just make it just like I did right now and just dive right into it. Let's take a little break. Then when we come back, we're going to take a look at our egg strata. It's just for brunch. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Let's Cook, where we are doing just for brunch. Right here, we have, and let me just explain this dish right here because it's a beautiful dish. We have some different components here. We have the fried eggplant. Then we made an olive mushroom or tapenade spread to go under our poached egg. And then we took our poached egg and we made some brown butter or beurre noisette and added some thin herbs to it. So it just kind of really works and very healthy. If you wanted, one variation on that is you could take a slice of tomato and put a slice of tomato right there with the olives. That would go really good too. Speaking of which, I have a tomato right here. But it's time for the strata. This is just beautiful. Doesn't that look fabulous? Now, with the strata, when you would go to serve this, I'll use the same plate. Aren't these great plates? I love my new plates. I just went out. Every once in a while, I'll go out and I'll get new plates. I love this plate right here. I love my new green plates. These are just too pretty. But let's take our tomato. Now, what we're going to do with the tomatoes, we're just going to take the tomato. And there's a couple of things you could do with this. If you wanted to make it look really festive, let me show you one thing you could do. You can take the tomato like this, cut it down in half this way from top to bottom. Then you can come here, cut this right here, then come in here, go like that just to remove that stem. That's an easy way to do it. Again, just like this, push this out of the way, come back with your knife, get rid of the stem there. Now, the other thing is if you wanted to make it really nice, you can bring your tomato to the edge of the table, come here, press down, move your knife back and forth like this so that you kind of open up the tomato so you have where the tomato is partially peeled like this. Okay. Let's see if this will sit like this. Turn this over right there so it looks real pretty. Little rosy tomato there. And then let's cut into our strata here and see how, because this is just out of this world, but it's also very, very hot. So it just takes some of our wonderful egg strata right here. Shove that right in the middle there. Whoops. Out of this world. With the running cheese, everything else out of this world. I love brunch. I love eggs. Like eggplant. Actually, I love eggplant. They're all very good friends of mine. I'm going to have a little taste right now. Thanks for watching Just for Brunch today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.